have a Okay, so my only question or request of you is that if I promise something to the group today, please just make a note of it. Otherwise, I will walk out of here and it'll be gone. So if
he's good at that. He'll do that.
Yeah. So if I say I'm going to send you a spreadsheet or a piece of it, whatever it is that I promise you that I'll send you, please, if you'll just take a note, I promise you'll get it as long as he takes notes. And then if you don't get it, you can blame him. What's your name?
Brian.
Brian, nice to meet you. Thank you for assisting me today. Those of you on Zoom, if you have any questions, can they hear through will they be able to pop in through the speakers?
Yes.
Okay, so if you've got any questions, just a reminder that I can't see the comment box. And if you can just pop in and ask your question, that's great. Don't worry about interrupting me. Okay, so I am Ariel Anderson. I got my license in 2013. I was a stay-at-home mom for several years prior to that. I was a military wife for 13 years. We transferred in from Alaska to the Fort Campbell area. Didn't know a soul. I had always teetered around sales, hotel sales, customer service. And then by the time we got to Alaska, we were the accidental landlords of 2 properties. So I thought to myself, I was like, what better time to get into real estate? So I got my license, had 4 small children at the time, right? I think my oldest was 5 or 6. I mean, they were literally like 4, 6 and under. And at that time, I knew that I was a team person and I enjoyed having my people, but I couldn't show up at 9 o'clock in business dress every morning. I mean, I was lucky to get out the door without like snot or puke or something on me. So I thought, well, I need my people. I want my people. I'm gonna have to build a team that supports my own culture. So 2013, I closed 36 units my first year. My second year, I closed 54. That's when I started saying, all right, my life is completely out of balance. How do I solve this? And everybody talked about the millionaire real estate agent, the model, the systems, the tools. And I was like, okay, I don't have any kind of business building experience. So let me jump in and just do exactly what the model says to do, which first thing was to hire an assistant. When I hired my assistant, we went to 73 units. I hired a second assistant. I did 143 units that next year. And then the team topped out right under 200 units in a year. And that was around the 2017, 2018 timeframe. As you can imagine, that was a lot. By that time, I was also a single mom. So since then, I had this kind of epiphany. I was out showing houses and I was like, if I sell one more 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath with a bonus, like just shoot me now, I'm done. I'm just done. And I realized at that time that my passion came from developing people. So what did I do? I turned back to a millionaire real estate agent and I started really researching the 7th level team. And that meant that I needed to hire my replacement so that I could then step out of the business. Hired an amazing gal named Amanda. And I was like, okay, she's going to be my replacement. Started working with her. And I realized I was like, she's awesome. And the agents turned to her. She and Liz were a package deal, by the way. Liz was on the team back in Clarksville and then PCS to Bragg, which is where our whole expansion vision had come from the beginning. Military wife, I was like, I want to be able to have continuity and be able to support other military wives and family members as they PCS. So hired Amanda. She was awesome. The agents turned to her, but she just wasn't it, right? And and at that time, I was like, you have to see opportunity everywhere. You have to look for people everywhere. And her husband walked into the office one day and I said, Zach, when are you going to get your real estate license? And he goes, oh my gosh, we were going to surprise you, but I'm halfway through real estate school and I was going to join the team as well. So Zach has since become my location leader in Clarksville. Zach and Amanda head up that team, and then we got Liz back to the team recently down here, and that's where that all came from. Also during that time period, I had the opportunity to invest in an apartment complex. So I've got 31 doors right now with all the properties. I've quickly converted 2 of those buildings, so 8 units, into fully furnished short-term rentals. Again, the vision was, I've been a military wife. Who wants to stay in a hotel with 2 dogs and 4 kids? And it's just miserable. No stove, no full refrigerator. And that's what I wanted to be able to provide to families as well. So that has been incredibly successful up in Clarksville, Tennessee. Any questions from there? Skip anything? So team to TL, big transition, right? And we've got almost 300 agents with KW Central, Burlington, Medon, and Hillsborough. Really no different. It's all models and systems and tools and the vision behind it. So one of the reasons that I love teaching the 6 personal perspectives is because so many of us go into the business and we get focused on, what is it that I need to do? I need to make the calls, I need to make the contacts, I need 20 connections a day. I want to close so many units a year, but the key behind it all is figuring out why you're doing it to begin with. And I was really good in the beginning at just throwing numbers at the wall and saying, let me see if I can hit these, and I did. And I tell people all the time that you get to the point where you've made all the money. You've made it all. There's no thrill in it anymore. Why are you doing what you're doing? It's got to be about something more than that. And if you can figure that out, the money doesn't matter, right? It just doesn't matter. So 6 personal perspectives, another system, model, and set of tools that we have in Keller Williams. I don't think we teach it enough, even though it's like one of our favorites. And it's really the basis of everything. So in the absence of knowing what to do, if you turn back to your personal growth, right, we've got the bold law that your business grows to the extent that you do. That'll never fail you. So you can mess up, you can make mistakes, and I'll be sure to share some of those as well. So I've got a little video to start out with. There we go. What did that do?
Wells Fargo is proud to be by your side as you keep your business going. So imagine a big explosion as you climb through 3,000 feet. Imagine a plane full of smoke. Imagine an engine going clack, 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 clack. Sounds scary. Well, I had a unique seat that day. I was sitting along the I was the only one who could talk to the flight attendants. So I looked at them right away, and they said, no problem, we probably hit some birds. The pilot had already turned the plane around, and we weren't that far. See, might happen. 2 minutes later, 3 things happened at the same time. The pilot lines up the plane with the Hudson River. Usually not the route. He turns off the engines. Now imagine being on a plane with no sound. And then he says 3 words. That's unemotional 3 words that I've ever heard. He says, brace for impact. I didn't have to talk to the flight attendant anymore. I could see in their eyes. It was terrible. Life was over. I want to share with you 3 things I learned about myself that day. I learned that it all changes in an instant. We have this bucket list, we have these things we want to do in life. And I thought about all the people I wanted to reach out that I did, all the fences I wanted to make, all the experiences I wanted to have and I never did. As I thought about that, later on I came up with a saying, which is, I collect bad wines. Because if the wine is ready and the person is there, I'm opening. I no longer want to postpone anything in life. And that urgency, that purpose has really changed my life. The second thing I learned that day, and this is as we clear the George Washington Bridge, which was by not a lot. I thought about, wow, I really feel one real regret. I've lived a good life. In my own humanity and mistakes. I try to get better at everything I try. But in my humanity, I also allow my ego to get in. And I regretted the time I wasted in things that did not matter with people that matter. I thought about my relationship with my wife, with my friends, and after, as I reflected on that, I decided to eliminate negative energy from my life. Not perfect, a lot better. I've not had a fight with my wife 2 years, feels great. I'm no longer trying to be right. I choose to be happy. The third thing I learned, and this is as your mental clock starts going 15, 14, 13, see the water coming, I'm saying, please slow on. Right? I don't want this thing to break in 20 pieces that you've seen in those documentaries. And as we're coming down, I had a sense of, wow, dying is not scary. It's almost like we've been preparing for our whole lives. But it was very sad. I didn't want to go. I love my life. That sadness really framed in one thought, which is, I only wish for one thing. I only wish I could see my kids grow up. But a month later, I was in a performance by my daughter, first grader, not much artistic talent. Yeah. And I'm bawling, I'm crying like a little kid. It made all the sense in the world to me. I realized at that point, by connecting those two dots, that the only thing that matters in my life is being a great guy. Above all, the only goal I have in life is to be a good guy. I was given the gift of a miracle of not dying that day. I was given another gift, which was to be able to see into the future and come back and live differently. I challenge you guys that are flying today. Imagine the same thing happens on your plane. Please don't. But imagine, and how would you change? What would you get done that you're waiting to get done because you think this year? How would you change your relationships, the negative energy? And more than anything, are you being the best man you can? Thank you.
Okay. So Rick says, I was given the gift of seeing into the future and then coming back and living differently. And I want you all to think of that for the rest of the class. What are 3 things that maybe you would do differently if you knew that today was your last day? How would you change? What would you do that you're waiting to get done because you think you have forever? And then the one I kind of like to throw in there is, what are you holding on to that's no longer serving you? So the first step in the 6 personal perspectives is a commitment to self-mastery. If you want the student workbook, you can go into KW Connect and just search 6 personal perspectives. I've condensed the material way down because I find that sometimes when we get into those PowerPoints that it just comes across scripted. So I like to give you like the real world application, like what does that mean for me in my life? What could that be for you in your life? And how to pursue it that way. But there's much more information in there if you'd like to work through all of the exercises. So what is it that differentiates those that are successful at the highest level and those who don't seem to accomplish as much? And Gary says that's our mindset, attitudes, and approach to life. And I want to read a little passage. Gary has said, when you interview the very top people and ask them what their biggest challenge is, invariably they will tell you it's mindset. Keeping it strong, focused, and positive amid the many challenges they encounter every day on their way to the top. Gary continues, life is an inside to the outside experience. When you get this at a deep level, you realize that who you are inside determines and drives what you are outside. The very best achievers know this and therefore truly work on and protect their mindset. So we've had a lot of social unrest over the last year, right? There's a lot of things going on right now. And I had a real aha moment yesterday as I was talking to my daughter about it. She's 12. Her dad is active duty. And she said, I'm scared. I heard about everything that's going on in Afghanistan and I'm scared. And so we talked about that. And so what exactly is it that is scaring you about it? And she's afraid that he's going to have to go back. She's also at that point where she's developing a lot more empathy, and the thought of people in pain or suffering is impactful to her. And so we had to work our way back through it and determine what it is in her daily life that she can control and that she does have an impact on. And we have to do the same thing, right? It's too easy. Fear is toxic, right? And it's like that. They talk about that exercise of gold where it's the drop of food coloring in a cup of water, right? And you can't get the color completely out after that. So fear is toxic, and one of the things that we can do to guard against that is commit to self-mastery, however that looks like for us. So self-mastery is the possession of great knowledge, skills, and habits that make you the master of you. One of the cool things that I was able to do over the course of building a team and transitioning into the team leader role, I thought to myself, why am I not leading at a higher level? Like, this is what I aspire to do. Why am I not doing it already? I was leading a team. I was ALC for 5 years in Clarksville. I was doing a lot of things in the community. I was leading my family. Starts there first, right? And I realized that at that point in time, I'm 5'2", in case you didn't notice. I don't see myself as 5'2". I see myself as more like 5'8", a little bit taller. I don't see myself as little. I'm 5'2", and at that point in time, I weighed 227 pounds. And I realized that I didn't see myself as a leader. So I woke up, asked myself the question, what's the one thing I'm holding on to that's no longer serving me?
Working on the air conditioner.
Oh, okay. I was like, what did I blow up?
Nothing. Yep.
That's okay. What's the one thing I'm holding on to that's no longer serving me? First thing, sugar in my coffee. Gotta go. So I started doing just regular creamer. Remember, I'm giving you real life application here. We think that we have to take a monumental movement, right, and a massive action, but really, had anybody ever heard of the class Quantum Leap? Gary, only a couple of people teach it. If you ever have the opportunity to take it, take it. It's wonderful. I've done it like 3 times, and that's this, but it's like a two-day course, I think. Quantum leap. So a quantum is the smallest piece of energy. It's the most minuscule piece of energy that there is. And we think a quantum leap is like a major leap across some big, canyon, but it's really not. It's in the small steps. So sugar out of my coffee. Got that one nailed. How many days does it take to build a habit? 66. The one thing, 66. So here's the caveat to that. I like the 21 also. The 21, you're rolling along pretty good at that point. So I tell people, first things first, focus on the 21 and then make your way to the 66. You get to 66 days and you've done it continuously for 66 days and it's pretty solid. You're gonna feel weird at that point if you deviate outside of that. But 21, that's the first step, get it going. So 21 days, no sugar in my coffee. Made it to 66, no sugar in my coffee. What am I holding on to that's no longer serving me? Creamer in my coffee. I'm not drinking black coffee. I am not drinking black coffee. Unacceptable. I'm not going to do it. My dad drank black coffee. No. So I cut coffee out for a while. It's like, not going to drink it, right? What am I holding on to that's no longer serving me? Wine at night. How many nights was I stopping by the store on the way home? Grabbing a bottle of wine. Cut that one out. What am I holding on to that's no longer serving me? Every single day, 66 days at a time. And I layered small habit upon small habit upon small habit and lost right around 70 pounds after it was all said and done. So a commitment to self-mastery.
Why is it?
I'm saying for me, it was no longer serving me. You'll learn all kinds of things about yourself and other people. And I've had to explain that so many times. It's not about you. This is about me. What's not serving me. When you commit to achieving self-mastery, you know your goals, first of all. What is it that you're trying to do? Why are you trying to do it? You know your strengths and weaknesses. Does anybody know? Give me some examples of strengths. What are some strengths of yours?
Networking.
Networking, people person. Okay, strengths. What else? Julie and I probably like to drive things forward pretty fast. We move fast, yeah. It can be a strength. What were you gonna say?
Faithfulness.
Faithfulness, dedication, contribution, yeah. Now, all of those that mention something, what's a weakness of yours? Do you know your weaknesses?
Procrastination.
Procrastination,
Lack of confidence.
lack of confidence,
Avoiding things that are painful.
avoiding things that are painful. That tends to be way more impactful than moving towards things that are pleasurable, surprisingly. What else? Weaknesses?
Lazy.
Lazy. All
Time
right.
management.
Time management. Yes. Yeah. So let me pose this to you. Often our greatest strength is our greatest weakness, right? So if you think about it from that perspective, are there maybe some weaknesses that you might be missing and not thinking about it because you view it as a strength? Might be a blind spot for you. So for example, love to drive things forward fast, weakness, impatience, not explaining things fully, failing to send things that I promised, things like that. So know how to work with both your strengths and your weaknesses to master the necessary knowledge, skills, and abilities to reach your goals. And sometimes that means putting a person in place, a system, tool, or person in place to balance that weakness. Go for it.
If you don't mind me adding, it's important for you to work on your weaknesses.
Mhm.
You know, a lot of people say, focus on your strength. No, you need to work on your weaknesses. That'll get you further.
And I think that's the first step is knowing what the weakness is, right?
Yeah.
There's tons of people out there that have no idea what.
Yeah, if you look up and search emotional intelligence, those are the most successful people because you know and understand yourself, how you deal with things when you have certain feelings, what to do with it, things like that. Emotional intelligence is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. And to that point, sometimes working on that weakness is putting a person, a system, or a tool in place to balance yourself out.
Yeah.
There, but having that insight to be able to say, I'm not good at that. I need to.
Yeah, as a leader, it's always, you really need to have people that know what they're doing below you. That, you know, leaders don't have to know and do everything.
Right.
You
We
know,
don't have. Yeah.
you just have to know the right people
Or be
to do it,
resourceful.
you know?
To
Yeah,
be able to find it.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a journey. It's not an event, right? There's all kinds of ways around it. So some of the things that this looks like, or this may look like for you. Has everybody heard of the DISC personality assessment? Okay, real quick overview. You've got DISC, and they represent different characteristics of personalities. Anybody can be any four of those at any given time. It's just we usually have one or two that our personality is more naturally inclined to be. So are we a driver? Are we an influencer? Are we more steady and stable and consistent? Are we detail oriented and systems oriented, process oriented? And those are the four categories. So we used to use the DISC a lot in KW, and I think they've tried to move away a little bit from it because people will sometimes pigeonhole themselves into, well, I'm a DI, I'm not good at systems and processes, so forget that, or that's my license to be a jerk. Right.
A lot of people do that.
Right. But where was I going with that? The important thing with the DISC is, and where I've seen this impact agents is, say you've got an agent that's an SC personality. Does that mean that they can't be successful in real estate? Right? They're steady, stable, they're consistent, And many people think that those qualities won't allow them to be successful in real estate. What I found with those personality types is if they view it as a system or a checklist, like their lead generation, that's all they need to do is just transition that thought into viewing it as a checklist. This is the checklist I have to do every day. They're checklist oriented. They love checking off those boxes. And I've seen some very, very successful agents that are SC personalities. So it's knowing those strengths and weaknesses and committing to self-mastery. So high achievers make a commitment to self-mastery. Step 2, 6 personal perspectives, is the 80-20 principle. Who's heard of this one? One of my favorites. What is the 80-20 principle?
80% of your effort will result in 80% of your results.
Yep, very good. 20% of your efforts essentially result in 80% of your results. So there's a pattern of predictable imbalance in life, and it's called the 80-20 principle. And I've actually seen that it tends to be more like 5-95 or 10-90, right? So in the 1940s, quality control manager, Dr. Joseph M. Duran, documented a life-changing universal principle that he called the vital few and trivial many. The idea was that a relatively small percentage of your efforts lead to the vast majority of your results. He attributed some of his findings to the statistical work of the Italian economist Wilfredo Pareto, who observed that 80% of the wealth in his country was owned by 20% of the population. As fate would have it, that broadly embraced principle came to be known as Duran's law, but as Pareto's principle. It did not become known as Duran's law, but Pareto's principle. And these days we call it the 80-20 principle. So what does that look like? Doing the things that get the most results. So make a list of all your daily tasks. It's going to be long. And then mark them out until you get to 5. And those are the ones that you need to focus on. Does everybody know the 5 jobs of a real estate agent? Yeah. Conversations with people. That's what I like to call it. Conversations with people. Scripts and role play. Follow up.
Negotiating contracts.
Negotiating contracts. What's the 5th one? You go to your notes.
One of my notes, I got it so.
Julie, I'm proud of your people.
I mean, that's good.
Yeah, they are. They're telling me all about the 80-20 principle and everything. Closing. Yep. Closing deals. So those are the 5 jobs of a real estate agent. Anything else outside of that? How many of you do things outside of that? All the things outside of that. You know, they didn't have contract to close companies when I first got in to the business. And I was like, man, I don't know that I would have ever done that if they'd have had the ability. It's that leverage. If somebody can do it 80% as well as you can, it's worth leveraging out. Yes, knowing your numbers, right? If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your worth. And if you don't know your worth, you can't balance that and figure out what you would be willing to pay somebody to do the job to leverage you out. So if I want to be really honest, rewind back to hiring my first assistant. My first assistants really came at home. I hired somebody to do the house, clean the house for me, even do the laundry, to cook basic meals for the kids, to transport kids to and from childcare. And for me, what that meant is that I could then come and spend quality time with them. And I wasn't worried about, you know, all the dishes piling up in the sink or all the fingerprints on the walls or all the many things that come with 4 very small children. So identify your 20% and then go even smaller by finding the vital few of the vital few. And I've got another video to play. Have y'all seen the Big Rocks video?
Yes.
No.
Yes, okay, I got some no's in here, so it's always a great reminder. I enjoy watching this one.
Your name is Elizabeth. You have a work life? Family life as well? Children? Yeah. What's the nature of your work? An international firm. So you really are interfacing with all kinds of people in the firm and outside the firm. You want a rich personal life and a rich family life. You ever feel like you get bogged down in the thick of thin things? Well, that might be analogous to all these little small things that tend to fill our life. And that just little by little, they just accumulate. Now, your job, you can't go above this. So get all those large rocks in the jar. Good luck. What's that one called?
Planning, preparation.
Right. Planning, preparation, prevention, and empowerment. And the next rock you put in there is called relationships and family. Look at that third rock you put in there. That's employment, some key employment issue, and then you put major projects here. I can't get it above there. Boy, that's right. Yeah, that's there. That's called service community church. You ever feel like this?
Yes.
How many feel like this? By moving the little things around, you might squeeze in one more of those big major things. It's almost, wow. You know, but doesn't can't force it. Here's something that's called urgent and important. It's quadrant one thing that is blindsiding you, that your biggest client, that if you don't get back to that client now, you've given up your vacation. And you have no special block of time just for yourself. I'll tell you what you can do if you want to. You can take a whole different approach. You have a totally fresh goal. You can work out of a different paradigm altogether.
Well, then I'd rather put these in the pot. And then for the wood type of one,
Employment,
big opportunity,
big opportunity.
important and urgent, lack of time. Watch young children looking at me. So here. No, I don't, please on that.
Okay.
So what do you hear out of that?
Big rocks
Make
first.
the main things, let everything else fall into place.
Right? That was great. Stephen Covey is a great author, several great books. So the one tool that we've got to help with that is the 411. I will share that. I'll share that with you after the class, and I'll say what I'll do is, I'll set a sign-in sheet up here, and if you'll leave your email address, then I'll shoot everything to you, that we've gone over. And those on Zoom, if you'll just shoot your email address in the comment box, I'll be happy to send to you as well. So anybody ever seen this nifty little tool, the 411? So 4 weeks, 1 month, 1 goal. You start with your overall goals up at the top for the year. Nobody says that the year has to start in January. Your year can start today and go to, to next August. And then you'll do your monthly goals. What are the monthly goals that you need to set to achieve your annual goals? And then what are the weekly goals that you need to set to reach your monthly goals to reach your annual goals? And it's not a checklist, right? Remember, these are the big rocks. The 411 are comprised of your big rocks. So something that I've done here personally, and that I've found effective with agents and team members, is until you get the hang of this, only allow yourself one thing, one goal in those boxes. I tend, in the beginning, I would get myself overwhelmed. I'd have like 8 things in there, and then I'd get maybe a month in and be like, oh, this is crazy, or I'd let it fall off. So until you really get the hang of using the 411, just one thing in each box. What's the one thing you can do in the next year to make your year worth it? And I also have my personal mission up at the top. I've written that in so that I see it every time that I access my 411. So I discovered through a lot of insight and journaling and talking to people that are in my circle, that my mission is to be a voice of positive change for people that don't have a voice, or they can't use their voice for some reason. And that's through teaching, writing, and speaking, right? Once I got clear on that, everything else fell into place. The TL role is not an easy role by any means. And if I can go home at the end of the day and say, was I a voice for my agents, then I'm okay with it. Same thing with being an agent and selling houses, building a business, serving many people. It's not easy all the time. You can't always please everybody. But if you can get clear on that mission, why are you doing what you're doing? Why did God put you here on earth? Anybody know? I'm just curious. Anybody know why you were put here on earth? All right, write that question down. Go for it.
To love and help others.
Okay. Why?
Why?
Yeah.
To make people's lives better.
Okay.
Because people have feelings. They're humans. There's people that God has brought us to help.
Do you feel a responsibility, a sense of responsibility?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get most reward when you're helping others instead of serving yourself.
Thank you for sharing that. So what I find when talking with agents about this and with my team members and my friends even, is that usually that's been modeled really well for you, or it hasn't been modeled at all. So I won't put you on the spot anymore.
No, put me on the spot. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's also a learning process, and I feel like that lady up there, it's a huge balancing act. I mean, I don't know how to balance things. I just don't. I just can't. There's just too much, and you can juggle, but some of those balls or oranges, whatever you're juggling, are gonna fall. Things are just gonna fall through the crack. It's just gonna happen. But I personally every morning I pray to God and I ask Him, if I pray that there's somebody that you put in my path, that you give me the strength to help them and guide them, and just use me as you will, man. And I pray that my will and your will coincide. That's not easy to do.
Yeah. And don't forget your oxygen mask first, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because I have to be a leader too, because I have kids. So it's tough.
For myself personally, it comes as a deep sense of obligation that I've been given gifts, and if I don't use them at the end of this life, then what have I even done? You know, I haven't served God's will, right? If I don't
Yeah.
serve those gifts.
You know, we have to try to keep our spirit and our eyes open to see, because there could be something that we're just totally overlooking. Because we're so caught up with, oh, I need to do this with the kids, or, you know, this with the house, with the car, you know.
And this year has been hard, guys. I mean, you might need more downtime this year than you've needed in the past. I find that with myself that, you know, sometimes I need a whole day to kind of recharge. And are you creating that time in your schedule? That's a part of your 80-20, right? That's a part of what's going to cause you to be more effective and to be able to serve more people, is really getting that downtime or thinking time. That's another one that I'm guilty of not putting into the calendar. What part of your day are you spending thinking? You know, if you can't ever get relaxed enough or out of that grind enough to see it from a 10,000-foot view, you'll stunt your own growth.
Yeah, sometimes you need that quiet and peace, and you need to listen, because you will hear a voice inside of you. You know, when you ask God to speak to you, and this is just what I've learned. Okay, this is just me. I can't speak for anyone else. But if something keeps coming through my mind, then I need to address it.
Walls you keep running up against. So that's one thing that helped me to realize what my mission in life was that I served on ALC, and I constantly found myself the one at the table that was like getting fired at, because I would say, no, that's not acceptable. Why do we do it this way? I understand we've done it this way for the last 10 years, but why do we do it this way now? Could it be better? Could we do it different? How about we try it this way? You know, and a lot of people mistook that for me thinking that I knew better, that I was better, or whatever. And it really wasn't that. It was just that I was passionate about it, and I knew it could be done better.
Yeah.
And so when I started to realize, like, I'm that voice, I'm that nagging voice, and I finally was like, let me just embrace that. Like, maybe that's my mission in life. And when I come at it like that, when I sit with my leadership team and I say, hey, I'm clear on my mission in life is to be a voice of positive change. So I feel obligated to speak that if I can see that positive change will take place. So don't hate me when I tell you, no, we're not going to do it that way. Let's think about a better way that we can do it.
So if I'm getting it right, because I've been through a lot in life as well, it seems like with everybody that goes is clear, right, on that. To me, it seems like it's always been something monumental that's occurred in their life that's actually the
Epiphany.
It seems like it has to happen in order for people to clearly understand what that is. And a lot of people just don't get it until that happens. And with people like us that have been there already, we see it, we know it, we're clear. We're just trying to prevent that big event from happening in somebody else's life, because it's painful.
Yeah. Well,
sometimes.
that, and then to tie our own mission to our own goals, right? So I didn't realize how I was doing that in my real estate business, which was causing me to be successful, but it was unconscious. I wasn't, it's called unconscious confidence. So I was doing it, but I was being successful, but I didn't know why. And then once you realize why, then you can really channel that to impact even more and do even greater good. So that's another thing I'll send you is the MVVBP worksheet. Just put worksheet on there.
I was about to say, that's a lot of letters.
Mission, vision, values, beliefs, perspectives. And what it's going to say on there is, why are you alive? That's your mission. Vision, what things do you value, right? What things do you value? My values are freedom, leadership, and growth. When I got clear on that, it made things easier as well.
Can you give me the acronym again?
Mission, vision, values, beliefs, perspectives.
Thank you.
And so when you do this worksheet the first time, just just free write on it, or just, you know, it doesn't even have to be complete sentences. Maybe just write down words that you think, why am I alive? You know, caring, loving, responsible. It doesn't have to be perfect. That holds us up a lot too. And that may evolve over time. So you'll start to see a common theme in there that, like with me, voice kept showing up everywhere, voice. And then eventually over time, it's like you said, it's not always this monumental like epiphany. It's putting all these things together over time. Yeah. Okay, so 411 and time blocking help us to commit to the 80-20 principle. I also have this one that I will send you. Daily activity record. This has been extremely helpful. You can adapt it or change it. I had the pleasure of having one of, I think the number 3 agent in the Southeast region right now came up through my team. Her name's Kirsten Freight. She came from the hospital. That's funny. She was actually late to her first appointment with me, and I booted her out, told her she had to reschedule. I thought, I was like, man, I almost lost that one. She closed 83 houses her first full year in real estate. And it was full, her first year in real estate was like, I think it was 9 months, 19 months, 83 houses. Insane. So what she did is she had just a binder, and she kept these every single day in the binder. And I could go to her and I could say, Kirsten, set 2 listing appointments. And she would start flipping through her binder, and 30 minutes later, she'd have 2 listing appointments set. So this was one of her systems. And I tell people all the time, it doesn't, you know, command is great. We use command, we love command, right, Julie? Command is great. And the top producers usually have several systems that they're using. And understand that I say top producers lightly. That's what it's relative to you. So your goals. If you're achieving your goals that you set out to do, I consider you a top producer. I don't care if that's 8 houses or 10 houses or 80 or 100. So it's the system that you're willing to use. For me, I kept a note on my phone, and I would be like, January, I've got Smith coming in, Carter coming in, Anderson coming in. February, I've got da-da-da. I mean, it was just real simple little system. I've known some people that use their phones. If you've got an iPhone, in your contacts, there's a note section, and they'll just scroll through their phone, 5 calls a day, Ford script, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. Yeah, look, I'm here. I'm digging it down here. So yeah, just for sure. How's the family doing? I just was talking, thinking about you, crossed my mind. Text message, I don't care what anybody says. I considered a 2-way text conversation to be a contact. The same with social media. I didn't knock a door or cold call for 3 years in my business. The first time I knocked the door was because my team called me out on it. They made me go out to a subdivision and knock doors with them. And I was like, I can't let these people show me up. And there's a really effective little exercise that I love to do in about a class this size. So if you're at home on the weekend and somebody knocks on your door, who would go to the door in the class? You go to the door and answer it. I've got probably about 4 or 5.
I look at the calendar first.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it depends. I'm still asleep at 9:30.
Yes, reasonable time. 11 o'clock, somebody knocks on the door, you go to answer it. Maybe 5 or 6 people. Okay, who would actually open the door? So,
My door's usually open already.
okay, all right. I'm getting to you, okay? You hold on a minute. Okay, so if the person was friendly and presentable and not pushy, who would have a conversation with the person? All right, probably about half of the class going on now. All right, if they were friendly and personable and it was really, really hot outside, and you thought to yourself, they'd probably like a glass of water, who would invite the person into the house for a glass of water? And if you had food cooking, I bet you would
Sit at
sit
the
them down
table.
at the table and have a meal with them.
Yep,
Door knocking works.
yes, it does.
Door knocking works. The reason I didn't want to do it is because if somebody knocks on my door and I'm not expecting them, I literally won't answer the door. I will look at you right through the door and go, nope, and not answer it. But there are people like you out there.
We're going from
Eric,
3 to 5 today.
Find you something and let you sell us.
Yes, I love it. There's people out there like that. And so we can't, maybe that's not the thing that excites you most in the world when it comes to lead generation, right? But we can't totally discount it because we put our filter on it, right? I don't answer my phone if I don't know who's calling. Or if I don't know what it's about. There's some reasons behind that. I've been caught off guard before and people wanted information that I didn't have right in front of me and I've royally botched things up and this whole thing. So anyways, if your TL doesn't answer the call, shoot her a text, tell her what you need. There's your plug. And she'll probably call you right back, or when she has the information.
When she has the right
She can get it for you. So yes, anyways, back to daily activity record. Some great things on here. You can use it as you will. I tell my team, I don't want a pretty sheet in a binder. Like I want the rippled up one that's been like thrown in your backpack and you had to dig it out and scribble names on it. So that shows me that you're actually out doing activities. So 4 keys to successful time blocking. The first is just being consistent enough to make it a habit. Just make it a habit. So when during the week are you actually sitting down to time block? This isn't one of them, but well, I guess it is one of them. The second, be thoughtful and purposeful about the items you list on your calendar. So leave white space in there. Do not make the mistake of blocking every single second through the day. Right? And sometimes, there again, unconscious competence. I was being really successful. I was taking a lot of new construction listings. I was like, I started mass coaching early on, 2014. They asked me, did I do my lead generation for the week? And I'm like, no. And every week I'm like, I need to do my lead gen, but I'm closing the heck out of houses. And so finally I realized I was going hanging out on the new construction lots every morning. Just walking the lot, checking out the neighborhoods, learning the floor plans, seeing what shiplap they were putting up, what brick was being laid that day. That was my lead generation. So what is it that you find fun and exciting? That's an important part of it too. What do you like doing, and don't discount that. Some of our guys up in Burlington play golf every week. They get a heck of a lot of leads off of playing golf. It's totally okay. Early on for me, that looked like going to the mom coffees and the play dates, right? Because I could take the kids with me. Military wise, they're always having a coffee or a drink somewhere. So I made it a point to go to all of those. So be thoughtful and purposeful, leave some white space in there. Thinking time and recharge time, important. Number 3, always time block for the 20% that ensures your success and the success of your business. And then if you erase, you must replace. I'll send y'all that. I'm big on habits. So let's see, I'm still sharing. I'll send this to you as well. This was our weekly flow. So I've actually made up a poster, well, the team did of this. Monday, we did our Facebook 5 system. That's here below that. Tuesday, business to business. Wednesday was our data bank. Thursday was either circle prospecting or a flex day. We encourage you to take off, especially if you're working during the weekend, if you can. And then Friday was door knocking and neighborhood farming, or prep weekend if you're doing open houses, right?
Yeah.
Facebook 5. I did this every day. So my team, that's their flow, but this was how I got my business up and going. 98% of my buyer business was through social media. And it's still heavy percent through it. So every day I added 5 new groups. Every day I initiated 1 conversation in the 5 groups. I commented on 5 threads in the 5 groups. I added 5 new friends and I private messaged 5 friends. And that was not the real estate drip. Stay away from that. So I'll send this to you.
Wait, what'd you say? That's not the real estate drip?
Yeah, that's not the, real estate drip. I do a social media marketing class too. Maybe I'll come down and do that for you next time. But I focus on usually the Ford script. So you just crossed my mind. I was thinking about you if I know the person. If I'm going in, so you're adding 5 new groups, these are gonna be things important to you. Maybe you like biking, maybe you like motorcycles, maybe whatever, there's all kinds of Facebook groups out there. Initiate 1 conversation in the group, so that's not gonna be around real estate, typically. And then comment on 5 threads in the groups, not about real estate. So look for things that might indicate a move. So are they looking for schools? Are they looking for a new doctor? Are they,
For
jobs, yard sales, all of those things?
Now, when you say add, you're saying join 5 groups, you're not creating them, you're just joining.
Correct. Yeah, just joining them. And the goal is to become the go-to person for the group. To be the mayor. That's what I like to say. Yeah, be the go-to. So now I did create a neighborhood Facebook page. It didn't have one. So if you don't have one, that's a great place to start. But how often do you see on the neighborhood Facebook page, like somebody needs a shovel? I don't care if I didn't have a shovel. I was gonna go out and buy one real fast and be like, here, you can borrow my shovel.
So the Facebook 5 you done on Mondays. Tuesdays you done the, what is that?
Business to business.
Okay,
Yep. Wednesday is database. Thursday, circle prospecting or your flex day. And then Friday, door knocking or neighborhood farming or open house prep.
well, it's that.
Yeah.
My head's killing.
Here, let me blow it. Maybe I have to blow it up a little bit. Maybe not, I don't know. Well, I'll send it. Now, Amanda from my team, I just discovered yesterday as I was teaching social media marketing and she was attending, that she does Facebook 5 with each of these. So she doesn't hold open houses, she doesn't door knock, she doesn't cold call. On Tuesday, she does Facebook 5, focused on business to business. On Wednesday, she does Facebook 5, focused on data bank. On Thursday, she does Facebook 5, circle prospect. You see what I'm saying? And she's got a whole system for keeping organized with that I'm hopeful will be coming soon, because I told her she needs to teach it, but she doesn't like to teach, so fine, I'll do it. Ford script, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. My other favorite little script is a gratitude script. So anybody use that one? Y'all are so like well schooled here that I don't know. So, okay, gratitude script, if I'm going to the grocery store, I'm gonna look and see which cashier is the friendliest.
Yeah.
Right, because I'm expecting, I'm expecting good service, right? And so I go through the line, they're friendly because that's what I've been looking for, that's what I've created for myself. And I say, hey, you've been so awesome today, if I can ever help you the way that you've helped me, call me. And leave my business card. You can also do that on Facebook. So I went to maybe, I don't know, food truck. Had really good service at the food truck. They were really friendly. And I say, hey, I went to visit y'all's food truck over the weekend. You were fantastic. If I can ever help you the way that you helped me, call me. You can do that through social media. Reviews, leaving positive reviews. The more you interact with it, the more you get seen. But it's just creating a habit around that. Some folks don't want to do that. That's fine. And I always say not to go down the social media marketing thing, but if it's not your thing, when in doubt, source it out. That's what I say. If you just don't want to fool with it, then outsource it. But it is an important part of marketing these days. All right, who knows step 3?
I have a question. So have you've actually done where you go to, when you go to check out somewhere, you practice that, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever tried it with the grumpiest looking one?
No.
Gotta work on your weaknesses.
I'll leave those for you.
Thanks.
I'm kidding. Step 3, 6 personal perspectives, moving from E to P. Anybody know this one already? Moving from E to P.
Entrepreneurial to
Purposeful, very good. Yep. So what happens is, this thing moves. They can't see me up there, can they?
The camera's like right here.
Camera's over there.
Yeah, that's, well, okay. So moving from E to P, you're gonna naturally have a ceiling in your business. Okay, so moving from E to P, you're gonna have a ceiling in your business, and when you're entrepreneurial, you're eventually gonna hit that ceiling. So it looks like a little zigzag line of, because business is not always linear, right? Sometimes it goes up and down. And then once you reach that ceiling, you're gonna bump your head, you're gonna get knocked back down. A lot of people get discouraged at that point. And it's really in our greatest breakdown that we're so close to breaking through. That's something that keeps me going a lot, the things that I say inside of my head. If everything feels like it's breaking down, I'm actually really close to breaking through. What you've got to do at that point when you hit that ceiling and you bump your head and you're not feeling real good is figure out where you can put systems, tools, and people into place. 9 times out of 10, it's systems. And if you can implement systems, do things a little bit differently, start new habits, or let go of the things that aren't serving you, you can break through that ceiling of achievement. And that would be moving entrepreneurial to purposeful. So in the beginning, perfect example of that. In the beginning, I was just messaging people on Facebook. I didn't know, unconscious confidence. I was just talking to people, just socializing. I felt like, well, then it started to work for me. And I was like, oh, this is working, so I'll just do more of it. Built up a lot of business. And then all of a sudden I started losing clients. Things were breaking down. I'm making mistakes on contracts, missed a refrigerator, had to pay for a fence. Those get expensive. And I realized, all right, I'm gonna have to either scale back my business and not do as much, or I'm gonna have to put systems into place so that I can scale my business out. And that's where the hiring an assistant and building the team out came from. Because scaling back my business to me was like telling somebody, hey, you need help, but I can't help you. And that wasn't an option, at least for me. So what's a system that you can put into place that will enable you to do it at a higher level? Then I realized, all right, I've got a team, I've built agents up, I've got to do enough lead gen to support these agents on my team. How do I do that? And it was teaching them the system. So the Facebook fine, it's a system. It's simple, right? But those sometimes are the best systems. Just like your CRM, a notepad on your phone or a notebook that you flip through. If that works for you and you're going to use it, that's a system. Nothing wrong with that. It's just a matter of where you keep in your contacts at that you can go back and access them. So a system can also be a coach or what we call a keystone habit. Has anybody ever read The Power of Habit? That's a really great book. And it's an easy read. So a keystone habit would be like your one thing habit. What's the one habit that you can do that will make everything else easier? So like when I started losing weight and working out became something that was an important habit that I needed to establish. I thought, well, if I just wake up at 4:30 in the morning every morning and go work out, then I'll be good and I'll lose weight, right? Well, 4:30 in the morning was really early, not really easy. And I was failing and I wasn't doing it. And I was like, what the heck is going on? So then I started peeling back away and saying, why am I not getting up at 4:30 in the morning? Okay, maybe if I put all of my clothes and my shoes right there so that I literally roll out of bed and everything's right there and I can get up and go. That wasn't it. So then I peeled back and I was like, all right, it's got to be bedtime, right? Bedtime's the keystone habit. So if I'm in bed by 9 o'clock every day, then maybe I'll be able to get up at 4:30 in the morning. And that didn't work. So then the keystone habit was the phone. It was the phone. I needed to be off the phone an hour before I was ready to go to bed so that I could come down enough to be able to go to sleep, to be able to wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I did that for a while. I don't do that anymore. I'm an afternoon exerciser.
What was that book you said again?
The Power of Habit. And he uses some really good case studies. It's just an easy read. I loved it. Step 4, make being learning-based the foundation of your action plan. How many bolds do you think I've attended? A lot, maybe 8 or 9 at this point. But there's always something to take out of it. Sorry about that. I usually try to turn that off. So what are the things that you could use a refresher on? Ignite, for example. You know, when I was selling 185 houses a year, like I was like, I don't have time for Ignite. But you know, as an ALC, sometimes I had to sit in there and sit in on the other sessions, and I take something out of it every time. Every time. Quantum Leap, I did that 2 or 3 times whenever I could. So make being learning based the foundation of your action plan. I'm gonna add a little piece onto that. There are a lot of people that give well-intentioned bad advice. So do your learning from people that are like actually doing what you aspire to do, or they've done it, right? I sit with agents every single day and they tell me, well, so-and-so said not to get blah, 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 or so-and-so said that I should get Zillow leads, or so-and-so, you know, and all of this stuff. And I'm like, well, what does their business actually look like? Have you talked to them? Do they even know their numbers? How much business are they doing? Better yet, how much profit are they bringing home? Because that's a whole different kettle of fish. I mean, you can be making $1 million a year, but if you're spending $1 million and one, you're not in good shape.
Yeah.
Right? So when you're learning and being learning based, learn from the people or the organizations that are actually doing it. Really good video if you haven't watched it, The Golden Circle, Simon Sinek, SIMONSYNEK. It's called The Golden Circle. People don't care what you do, they care why you do it. That's one you can add to your learning list. So a learning-based individual is an individual who has made the decision to use effective learning, as the foundational piece for their action plan to develop their life. So what knowledge could cause you to be able to achieve your goals? Step 5, remove your limiting beliefs. Good old, well, they don't like that term anymore. High achievers remove beliefs from their thinkings that hold them back. And I do have a little exercise for you on this one. We're actually going to do this with the removing limiting beliefs and being accountable. They kind of go hand in hand. So accountable people take ownership of everything. Extreme ownership. Great book also. Jocko Willink.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's awesome. Extreme ownership. So you take ownership of everything. I'm trying to think. Yesterday, I was teaching. I didn't know I was supposed to be teaching yesterday because the MCA had scheduled me for a different day on the calendar. But the market center that I was teaching at was under the impression that I was teaching yesterday. So I get a call about 3 minutes after 2 o'clock and it says, hey, where are you at? You're supposed to be teaching. And I was on a call with my OP. So I got on and I said, it's all right. Sorry, we're gonna handle this. I've taught this class 85 times before, it's fine. I'm a little bit frazzled, not gonna lie, because I didn't expect to be teaching in 2.5 seconds. But I got on the call and instead of saying, I'm so sorry I was late, the MCA messed up the dates and blah, 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 blah. I got on and I said, thank you all for being so patient with me today. Extreme ownership. In the end, is there something that I could have done better that would have caused that to not happen? I could have confirmed with the MCA. I could have said, hey, can you send me a calendar invite, right? 10 different things I could have done. So being accountable and removing limiting beliefs can go together. So the exercise that I would like for you to do is called a ranking exercise. And I want you, I wonder if I can figure out how to work with these. All right, so on your paper, you're gonna put financial, spiritual, physical, and business. This is the one of the exercises that has been the most impactful. And here, you don't have to show this paper to anybody, okay? I'm not gonna call anybody out. I want you to put the 5 people that you spend the most amount of time with. They can't see it on video. So those of you on Zoom, the top of your paper, you're gonna have financial, spiritual, physical, and business. And then you're gonna number 1 through 5. The 5 people you spend the most amount of time with, these are not children. I know we spend a lot of time with our children, not children though. And this might not necessarily be in person either, especially in today's world. So who are you talking on the phone with consistently every single day? Maybe you call your mom every day and that's somebody who is influential in your life. So 5 people on the left-hand side that you spend your most amount of time with, might be somebody you work with, might be somebody you work out with.
So is each one like 5 people for each category, or?
No, just the top 5 people.
Okay.
Yeah. So 5 people. That would be like my training partner, my best friend, my coach, my mom. Those are gonna be my 5 people. Now, the fun part, I want you to rank them 1 to 10 in each category. How would you rank them financially, spiritually, physically, and in a business sense? You don't have to show this paper, remember? I saw some eyeballs. I'm not gonna call you out on it. So be honest, how would you rank them? And don't put 7, I hate 7. 7's mean you're not gonna commit to 8 and you're not gonna commit to 6. It's either 6 or 8, no 7s. I'm gonna give you a minute to do that.
So we're supposed to rank them as to what we think they add to our life.
No, so how
Those
would you rank them financially? In your perception, how would you rank them financially?
What they bring to the table?
Not necessarily what they bring to you, but just in overall picture, how would you rank them? Like say, my best friend, I'll give you an example. My best friend owns a salon outside of Nashville. She's got a team of 8 stylists. She can pretty much travel whenever she wants to. She doesn't have all the money in the world, but financially, I would probably rank her an 8. Just because she's able to cover her bills, pretty much do what she wants to do. That sort of thing. So you're being judgy. The sexers, I'm just kidding. We're not judging. We're simply analyzing. It was a hard one for me too, so don't be worried if this is challenging. So on the left side, the 5 people you spend the most amount of time with, how would you rank them financially, spiritually, physically, and in a business sense? So Heather, she's gonna kill me for doing this. Heather is my best friend. Financially, I put an 8. Spiritually, I know she's spiritual. I don't hear her talk about it very often. I would probably go 7, but I don't like 7, so we're gonna go 6 or 8. I'd probably put a 6. Physically, she's my training partner. She's in kick butt shape. I'd probably put a 9 there. Her nutrition's really good also. And then business, I would say she's, you know, she could grow and expand. I'd maybe put an 8. So you got your top 5. You might have this person's a 10, 9 on the spiritual. So it look like that.
How do we rate the business or part again?
Business, so that's gonna be some of your perception. So do you think that they've got a good business sense? Maybe they don't own their business, that's fine. Are they in the corporate world and CEO or something? That might be a 9, I don't know. So what does that look like? Maybe they're in a startup and they're not making money yet, but they've got a really killer idea and they're kicking it off, and you would rank that as a 9, like this is gonna be good.
Yeah.
How are we doing on that?
I realize I don't talk to that many people.
Okay.
Just realize, I need more friends.
Okay.
You know, you want
More influence in your life.
for sure.
All right. So then I want you to go up at the top, up above, and I want you to rank yourself in those categories.
Oh, Lord. I thought I was supposed to walk away feeling good about this.
So rank yourself. So my Zoomies, how would you rank yourself financially, spiritually, physically, and in business?
I don't know. We have a biased opinion of ourselves.
Well, there you go. So we know that 8 is really a 6. All right. So for me, physically was my lowest ranking one. And that's the one that I wanted to spend, that I wanted to focus on. Those are the habits that I wanted to focus on. So I looked through my list, take the thing that's your lowest ranking category and look through your list. Who do you have that's a 9 or a 10 in that category? So maybe spiritually you rank yourself a 6 and you want to grow. Do you have any 9s or 10s in the people that you're spending the most amount of time with?
What if you don't?
Hold please. So great question. What have you done? So Zoom, do you have any body in your list that is a 9 or a 10 in the category that you're ranked the lowest in? If you don't, anybody who is in that situation? I was in that situation too. Is there any aha around that?
Find them.
Yeah. Find someone else.
Make them one of your 5. Make
Yes.
somebody that fills that role one of your 5.
Yes. So I've heard a couple of ahas already. Number 1 being, I don't have that many people in my circle, right? Number 2 being, maybe the people that I have in my circle are not exactly where I'm endeavoring to be, right? So how do we add those people to our circle? What might that look like?
Might have to cut somebody out. Or
I'm not saying go ask your friends off the list. You may limit time with them, right? Maybe you talk to them every day and you're gonna kind of push for maybe every other day to start out with, or shorten the conversations.
Sometimes the top 5 people that I hang out with too, are comfortable. And they kind of validate your mediocrity. No, I mean, not in a bad way. You know,
Right.
I mean, I got some pretty dope people on my top 5, but they're
Yeah.
not necessarily 9s or 10s in a lot of areas, and they keep me comfortable.
Yeah.
They're like my safety zone.
And it's just simply habit.
Yeah.
It's just habit, you know, maybe you don't even consciously think of it. It's just, this is the person you call when you get off work every day or whatever. What else? What does it look like to add people to your list? So take your lowest ranked number and think of 2 people that you would rank as a 9 or a 10 in that category. So maybe you want to experience, for me, it was, I wanted to grow, well, I wanted to shrink physically. But I wanted to grow in the physical category, right, and grow my habits there. And so I thought of the 2 people that I would rank as a 9 or a 10 in that category. One of them's name was Nicole. She was a nutrition coach, had been a sponsored athlete. And then the other one was a mentor and coach of mine named Vlad. He drank cucumber juice every morning, and I just thought that was like healthy or something. I don't know. Like, we were in Austin and he literally had his assistant like searching the streets of Austin for cucumber water, whatever it is. So I was like, okay, Vlad is a 9 or a 10. So I reached out to both of those people, and by this point I had changed habits. I had cut sugar out of my coffee, cut creamer out of my coffee, like everything was rolling along, and I had the confidence that I could change a habit. So I reached out to Nicole and I reached out to Vlad and I said, what's the one thing I can do? I know that I can change habits. I've got that confidence. What's the one thing I can do that will cause me to be more successful physically and to get a handle on my weight? Vlad said, hire a coach. I was like, thanks for nothing. Kind of answers that, hire a coach. And Nicole said consistency. And I was like, what does that mean? I mean, both of them literally like no more than 3-word answer. And I stewed on that, I pondered on that. Nicole was actually a nutrition coach. And I said, all right, while I've got you, do you have any openings for coaching clients? And she said, I do, can you start Monday? And it's like Thursday. And I'm like, oh, wait, what? Like, what does starting Monday mean? I don't even know what that entails. Like, what do I need to have on my grocery list? Like, how I don't know how to do this. And she said, so can you start Monday? And I was like, yeah. So I started with Nicole, started tracking macros. I knew nothing about it. It was a whole like, it was a whole culture shock. And that's when it all clicked. And I started to drop weight. That was the one thing I worked out consistently for 4 years. I had that habit. I had the water habit. I had the black coffee habit. But the nutrition piece is what I had not gotten a hold of. These can also be books. They can be podcasts. John Maxwell is a friend of mine. I'm just kidding. He's not a personal friend. Like, I think he's a friend. He probably has no idea who I am. I've read so many of his books, listened to so many of his videos. How can you get more of that influence into your life?
You may have a comment on the Zoom behind you.
Okay. Thank you. Oh yeah, I got some email addresses. Got Time management with the 411. Did I forget anything? I don't think so. So be accountable. I was talking to my coach this morning and he said, what attributes do the people that you enjoy coaching show up with? And I was like, can you ask me that a different way? What does that mean? What characteristics do these people have that I really get fulfillment out of coaching? How are they showing up? And I said, well, that's easy, like servant-heartedness, yes, how attitude, you know, things along those lines. And what it really all boils down to is accountability, right? One of the attributes that I value in people is not being yes people. I like people that'll push back on me. And I'll say, well, why do you do it that way? Or what about this? It could be better this way. And I feel like that's being accountable. So being an accountable person that way. So be the accountability you wish to see in the world. Think for yourself, start in your home, right? And a little model for consulting, this might be with your clients. What was your goal? How did you do? How did you feel about that? And then based on what you did, what is your goal now? You can do that with yourself, with your own clients, with your friends. So learning based and accountability. What are you hearing? Share something with me.
You have to continue to improve yourself to improve your business. In order to improve yourself, you have to be accountable for the things that you're doing that directly relate to your business.
Real easy to get in that grind, right? So that question, what am I holding on to? Or what could I add that would serve me better? I like that one too. What habit could I add that would serve me better?
Which I think a lot of that's gonna go right back down at the time blocking,
Yes. Yeah, the plan,
Yeah.
the thinking
being
time.
accountable and.
If you can't even get enough of a breather to step out of your business and ask yourself, what am I holding on to that's no longer serving me, and think about it or journal about it if that's something that you enjoy doing, then you will never do it. So the 6 personal perspectives: 1, commit to self-mastery. I'm gonna master this, I'm gonna do what it takes. I'm the master of me. I've got control over my circumstances, my world, everything that I create around me. Step 2, commit to the 80-20 principle. Focus on the big rocks, as they call it, the most important things. Step 3, move from E to P, entrepreneurial to purposeful. So I'm purposeful about breaking through my ceiling of achievement. Gary says success is just not quitting. It's just not quitting. It's hitting that wall and getting back up again. Make being learning based the foundation of your action plan. Step 4, I'm willing to be taught. I always pursue learning. If you really want to learn something, teach it. Yeah. Step 5, remove your limiting beliefs. So I unlimit my thinking and my success. I was on a call yesterday, Mastermind, one of my favorite ones of the week, and I thought I was cool because I've got 31 doors, you know, and I've been an investor and they're doing pretty well. And this TL pops on there. Not only is she a TL, she's an investor of a market center and OP and has 400 doors. And I was like, maybe I'm not thinking big enough, right? So, and we can look at that one in 2 ways. At first, I felt a little bit defeated. I felt like, well, gosh, I haven't done enough with the talents I've been given. But I had to check myself on that and say, how do I added her on Facebook. She's gonna be my friend now.
Good.
Yeah, I was like, how do I get that person in my circle, right? So remove limiting beliefs. And then number 6, be accountable. Extreme ownership. And it's yours for the taking.
Can I ask what the first one was again? It was mastery or something?
Commit to self-mastery.
Self-mastery.
Commit to self-mastery, yep.
Thank you.
What was number 4?
Number 4 is the learning base. Make being learning based the foundation of your action plan. So in the beginning, we watched Rick, and he said he was given the gift of seeing into the future and coming back and living differently. And what are the 3 things that you would like to accomplish? Anything you're holding on to that you're like, oh, I need to let that go. Talk to me.
I just want to grow my business, my real estate business. I mean, as a new agent, it's only been in it for a few months. I only have 1 deal under my belt so far. And I think in this, inventory constrained market, just being able to grow my business is, important for me. I also have to be realistic about the fact that I work a full-time job and I'm a single parent of a dual sport athlete. So time management is very important for me. So.
Yeah, those are my favorite, by the way. If somebody had told me that I couldn't do the TL role and have dual career, I've got a short-term rental business. I've got an expansion team, 4 children, single mom.
Right.
Like, you can totally do it. And the reason why folks that have so much going on are my favorite, you've got a real clear understanding of time management. Because you can't not manage your time, right? You fail a lot of people if you don't. So I think it's probably getting to why are you doing it? Getting really clear on that and connecting that emotionally to your goals.
Thank you for the class, by the way. It was excellent.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Any other questions, feedback, anything that you want to share with me? What are you going to do in the next 24 hours to move yourself forward?
I'm gonna read that email that you're gonna send us with all those links.
That's right.
I think that daily sheet of what you do on a daily basis, that I can put in a binder and kind of track what I'm doing daily in my business for real estate is gonna be very beneficial for me. So I'm looking for that sign-in roster to add my name to.
Yeah. Good.
So here, not just a little bit personal here, okay?
Yeah.
Going through this whole thing, you examine yourself, you look at yourself, and I pastor a church full-time. I've got 13 kids, real estate full-time. Married, you handle so much, and it's not just that, all that I do. Everybody's got their own things that they do. When you realize what you gotta let go, that fear of uncertainty creeps in. What are things that you do to overcome that fear? Like, how do you let go of things that you literally have done your whole life and your family's dependent on you for, the church is dependent on you for, your neighbors have depended on you for? How do you, if you just cold cut it out, what do you do?
I tell myself, get over yourself and stop it, right? You can train yourself to do differently. One of the things I experienced in the beginning too was kind of paralysis by analysis is what I called it, that I would be like, I don't have enough information or, CRM. For 3 years in my business, I didn't use a CRM. Do you know how many clients I've missed out on or even failed because I was that agent that closed the deal and they never heard from again? So I started just telling myself, stop, or you've got 10 minutes or you've got until tomorrow morning to figure this out. Tomorrow morning, you're gonna make a decision because you've got all the information you already need to have. But really, I'm halfway joking there. To your point though, enlisting those people in your goals and in your success, that here's my vision, I'm clear on what my vision is and why I've been put here on earth. And I've got gifts that I'm not giving and I'm not serving with at the highest level. And to me, that's a failure to God, right? And my spirituality. And so can you help me to serve at a higher level by letting me out of this task or helping me to find somebody to fill this place so that I can go do what I'm best at? Right? We had this conversation yesterday because my MCA, I hope they're not on here. I love using real life examples. They kill me all the time. They're like, what are you talking about me for? So my MCA we've got mega camp going on, right? And we've learned that if we register our agents for mega camp, that they're more likely to register. Like they want to go, they want to attend, and then it comes out last minute and they haven't registered. And so we said, don't worry about it. We're going to pull out the stops, and make it easy for you. We will register you. We'll add it to your agent bill. Done. You just got to give me thumbs up. I want to go. Right. She put my productivity coach she gave the responsibility to my productivity coach to actually put the registrations in manually. So when I came in, now it's 48 hours and we've got 60 people that want registered and they're all messaging me and they're saying, where's my confirmation? Have I been registered? I just want to double check, so the workload now is like triple time because they're all checking back with me. And I go, now why would you put the productivity coach in charge of that? Because her strength is a cheerleader.
Mhm.
She rallies. If it's time to party, our PC coach is there. She's getting the crowd together and getting them worked up. Great energy level.
Yeah.
Her highest and best use is not sitting there at a computer manually typing in registration. But we have a really open dialogue about that, about our strengths and weaknesses. And my MCA thought about it and she was like, yeah, that wasn't a good idea. So now we're all frustrated at Jen because she's our PC coach, when in reality, we were the one that had set it up. Yep.
Thank you so
And I say that lightly. You can use that in the sense of like, how many tasks are you doing that is not actually the highest and best use of your time? So it's knowing what you're good at, right?
Delicate.
I think for me too, I need to let go of procrastination and feeling like I always have tomorrow. Like I'm like, I'll start tomorrow. And then I've wasted today. And then when you look back, if you're not careful, you've wasted a week and you've wasted a month. You know, so just picking something, but you got to do it though. You can't be like, oh, tomorrow I'll make a list.
Well, and sometimes, so think about those times when you're procrastinating. Is it possible that it's because it's a task that you really don't enjoy and you're really not good at to begin with?
Always. Yeah.
So who or what can you put into place to make sure that happens and maybe you don't necessarily have to do it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We've got an ISA on our team and she's been with us for, going on 5 years now. And that whole thing stemmed from, I'm great at getting contact information, terrible at following up with them, right? I can go out and get anybody's name and number on the street that you want, but then I have it all, and then I'm on to the next, getting more names and numbers, and I never follow up with them. So I pass them to Misty. She's our ISA. And she's already got it. I'm calling on behalf of Ariel. She met you yesterday. She's really excited to talk with you. Is there anything we can do to help you buy, sell, or invest in real estate?
I was gonna speak to his question about the fear when you need to let something go or make a change. I'm still in my first year of full-time real estate because I had a full-time job for the first couple of years I did. So one of the things I've had to do to survive this first year is when I can see something's not working, I have to literally picture, and I know we say all the time, well, picture where you'd be in 5 years. I have to literally sit there and create, okay, if I keep doing this thing like I'm doing it, or avoiding doing this thing like I'm avoiding it, what does that look like next year at this time? And usually that's enough for me, like really truly living in that moment of it's a year from now and what does this look like if I keep doing this? That's usually enough to give me the strength I need to change it or to stop doing it or whatever. or to start doing it. Because I don't want to be in that place that I envision next year if I don't make that change. But before I do that exercise, I'm usually like, like I said earlier, avoiding the painful things, you know, so, yeah.
But now you've gotten something that you identify as being avoiding, like you're either feeling like some sort of emotion or something, and you're like, oh, I'm going there,
Yeah.
right? So you've gotten your awareness to it, I'm going there, and then now you've got a tool in place that you're using to get you out of that.
Yes.
I like that.
And the director of our team, our director of operations, Sheila, in our coaching, she asks very probing questions. So if I'm not.
It's uncomfortable.
Yes, she just like goes like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the other thing, like, if I didn't think of it on my own, I know that I've got people who are helping me to pinpoint what might be happening in my
Yeah.
lovely mind up there.
And the accountability aspect, you want people that you know are out for your best interest, right? So you've got the rapport built with her that you're okay with her digging deep. Now, if I went in and just started digging in on you, you'd be like, who is this person? But yeah, that's part of the people that you stack around yourself for accountability, these people here. Yeah.
So then maybe the fear is a reactionary vision instead of an envisionary. And that makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're,
you're in that grind
Yeah,
versus
because
looking
you're
at it from
constantly moving, constantly doing the things. Sometimes you don't even know you're doing it.
Mhm. Yep.
You know, you're reactionary in action. And I guess from what she's saying, you're saying it's the main thing is focusing on the future vision, the visionary of it.
Either that
And then just
or
making it-
chunking it way down. So the common thing with, how many of you have heard the 20 contacts a day? 20 contacts a day. That can be really overwhelming, especially new in the business, right? So I tell people, if you can't do 20, just do one. Just do one. Do one every single day for 21 days. And I promise your business will be better for it. And then do two. Do two. And then just keep layering upon layering. Wake up in the morning, maybe you write it on your mirror or something. What's the one thing I can let go of today? What's the one thing I'm supposed to do that I can get somebody else to do, or I can put a system in place? Good stuff. Thank you all for sharing. What else? Anything else? I'm really great at awkward endings.
I have a question. Have you read the book Shut Up and Buy the House?
I have not.
Have you heard of it?
Is it good?
I don't know. I just have it in my notes as a book I was recommended by my instructor.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a book list a mile long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, y'all have been awesome today. Thank you so much for letting me come serve you.
Thank you for
Some
coming.
of the 6 personal perspectives. I always find it to be refreshing too. It
Yeah.
reminds me to stay in that mindset as well. Commitment to self-mastery.
I do want to ask, what was your email so I can share the note with you?
Perfect. Yes, it's Ariel, Ariel Anderson. That's with an O-N at kw.com. And I think I've got a sign-in sheet going around somewhere. Perfect.
No, we haven't seen it yet.
Y'all have been great. Zoom, anything on there that you want to add? Any questions? Jump in there. Well, again, thank you so much for letting me come. Thank you. Serve you today, and I hope to see you again soon.
Thank you for the
Yeah.
class. It was amazing.
So you work in Tennessee? Is that
I've got
right?
a team, my team serves Clarksville, and Fayetteville, and then I live actually in Burlington.
Around here?
Yeah, right in between Greensboro and Raleigh, right there in the middle. Yep. Yep, I'm about an hour and a half away.
I've worked here for a long time, but
You know, North
where's that?
Carolina is one of those places that's like that though. Like I grew up in Smithfield, and it's just all these little towns and stuff that.
Yeah.
You grew up in Smithfield?
I did, yeah.
What's your main, do you have what was your, do you have a?
Sardi, yeah, Sardi was the last name.
You're
I moved
kidding
when I was
me.
like around 11.
You're kidding. Stacy Yelverton?
Oh my gosh.
Oh
What?
my-
Elementary school.
Yes, you were one of my best friends.
Oh, we did.
Oh, yes. I go to your house all the time.
You mean you knew her?
Look at
Just
that.
I
realized
had
you
no
knew.
idea. Our moms worked together.
Yes, we did.
Oh, my
That was her whole class.
But I just think if we hadn't asked that question though, like.
We would have never known.
That is so.
But I kept
You
thinking.
see how
look
God
so
puts people in
familiar.
places.
You're so right.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Wow.
I might have seen your name on the sign and been like, hold up.
Well, I'm pre-vet now, so it
Okay.
probably wouldn't have even,
Yeah.
no,
That
yeah.
is so.
That is so crazy. Oh, I gotta get your number.
Yeah,
Did you say
that was
pre-vet?
really cool.
What?
Did you say pre-vet?
Yeah,
Do you know someone named Kevin pre-vet?
no, is
I was
it?
like.
I'm like,
I'll just step back, because something's gonna. That was so
No,
cool.
is it PREVETTE? Because a lot of times it's pre-vet or privet.
I just remember how they pronounced it. He was a redhead kid. He was about my age, so 23.
No, I don't know a Kevin, but it's my husband's name, and there's parts of his family that I don't really know, so it could be.
That is so insane. I literally remember going to your house. What were we like? Probably 8.
We were like 8, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, because I moved at
Are you
almost
good with
10,
computers?
and then you guys must have moved right after
Right
that.
after
I just wanted to help you wipe all the crap off.
That is why. Where did y'all move to?
My
What do you
mom
think
joined
about
the Air
that?
Force, and then moved down to Valdosta, Georgia, moved the Air Force Base.
Okay.
And then from
Well,
there,
the
we
first
met.
10 years, we just
We did
Friday,
eventually
that'd be
make
like
it back to
the
North
first
Carolina, so.
Wow.
I need to get on
KW,
stuff.
yes.
I'm trying to get,
No,
it's gonna create gaps.
I didn't put it on your page.
Yeah, that's
I
probably.
didn't know if there's a
Were
quick
we
way
in
to
school?
just
We had
kind of
to-
wipe it back to original.
I don't think we were ever in each other's classes, but yeah. Which school were you at?
Important files you have on.
South Smithfield Primary?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just weren't in each other's
That's what
classes.
white the way it used to be. And
So,
I don't know if
Thanks,
it's
so
way to do it.
like, I can tell you specific memories from our sleepovers and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. The whole
All
thing.
defragment does.
I have, well, that's definitely a
Take
first. I've
everything
never
within
had that
the
happen
box,
before. Super cool.
Yes.
Welcome to Fayetteville.
Yeah, yeah. And then, so what brought your family?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out like what I can get rid of.
I went to Campbell University and my husband was living in Elizabethtown. Are you familiar with Elizabethtown? So Fayetteville was kind of like our halfway meeting point for dating. We started going to church here. He got a job here right before we got married. And I didn't have a job yet, so church job for him, it just felt like the right place to move to. And we've been here ever since, like 13 years. Wow.
That's amazing.
Where do you actually live? You said Burlington? That is so cool. I'm gonna put my phone number on.
My
Okay,
son.
yeah.
How's your mom?
Yeah, late class, because I had to go, I went to my monster computers on Jackson Road to get a power cord for this, just to make sure.
My mom loved to be reconnected.
Yes,
I'll
I'll
talk about
talk about
her
her
too.
So that's what.
Yeah, please, please do send me your,
Okay,
your info too.
yeah, I sure will.
Yeah.
I'll give you just
Because
a-
I start having it uninstalled.
Good.
yeah. I have an appointment at 1 or I would just stay and.
Yeah.
Catch up.
No, we'll have to all work out at some point.
That
together.
would be,
It'll just
I
start.
would love that.
Well, thank you for coming today.
Yeah,
So cool.
really good. You helped me break through a couple of things.
Good.
Maybe I can do
You
this.
see, where's it?
Good. Yes, I look forward to it. Bye, Stacy.
Add a remove program, you can just push edit. All the way to the top. Put on your icon.
Oh,
Yes.
Did everybody get signed?
Did the note share to you?
Let me.
That's not everybody on the Zoom.
Bye, everyone. Goodbye, Cody.
So what else?
David, was David here?
Yeah.
What else is?
He went from Zoom land to being here. I heard his voice.
No, today was just the,
What's this last one?
yeah, I believe so, just the command for new ages,
Yeah,
from
that's cool.
Shelby, and then the 6 personal perspectives with the amazing area. You did good.
Thank you.
So
What did we?
Okay, I got it.
Awesome.
You gonna drop one of those apples you're juggling? Is that what you're trying to decide?
No, but, what, I was talking about the epiphanies. I lost everything Hurricane Matthew.
Hmm.
So that was my big learning point, because I really had seemed like control of everything,
And then God said, watch
and
the.
well, it just got all took away.
There's a lot of good notes.
So
Good, I'm
the
glad.
learning process, though,
So
is
you're a
to
fan of Jocko
rebuild
Willink?
Yes,
with the
He
fears.
is
of the
hardcore.
past.
He is, him and, who's the other one?
At the same time, there's still things that you're
The
just
guy that
uncertain
runs.
about, like we just done church
Cameron
merge.
Hayes?
No,
Grace
he's-
Baptist Church.
he-
so
oh,
I'm
David
pastor
Goggins?
Thursday.
Goggins.
That man, yo,
Yeah.
that's a man right there.
Um,
I actually, one of the things I put was be a better man, like,
For
something
he
like
gets
that.
me fired up.
There are more people that I could
Right, like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Same time with real estate, I've got a vision for what I don't
Check
do
out
with real
Cameron
estate.
Hayes. He's like,
Yeah,
Cameron
like
Hayes.
she was saying,
he's
it's
like
not
a
per
more
se me
hardcore
actually
version
doing
of David Goggins, but he doesn't cuss, he's not always
all
pissed
the
off.
transactions.
He has a full-time job, he
gonna be
still
a
runs, I think he
small
said like
part
a
of it.
full length of a marathon every day, just to practice for marathons. He
It's
does the
just the
MOAC
fact
all the
that,
time,
okay,
whatever that marathon is.
Yeah.
the
called,
list right there, usually it's.
256 miles.
That's
all the
insane.
people
Cameron
that
Hayes.
Yeah, man.
I have
Cameron
many
Hayes.
people on there that,
Yeah.
like she was saying,
It's like 250
that I
miles.
made
It takes
because I don't
multiple
go
days
to them
do
for
it. You're going through
information.
high
I don't go
elevation
to them
too,
for
so your
guidance.
lungs
I
are
don't-
kind of struggling.
so she made me
It's
realize the
a-
nutritionist part, Ariel. Been my goal, I was 400 something pounds.
Yeah.
I'm down to 342 now,
That's awesome.
but, well, it's not awesome, because I was supposed to, the doctors want me at 180, and I'm like, you know, if I'm 180, I'm gonna be sick,
Yeah.
seriously,
Well,
I will.
And the actual, so that was my thing too, is I had a number goal in the beginning, but then like I actually got down to that number. And then when I saw myself, I was like, I don't want to beat that.
Yeah.
Like, and I've always been, my BMI has always been over, but you know, it's just not accurate.
Well, I'm thinking 250.
BMI is not accurate.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking 250,
It is not.
somewhere in that range,
Yeah,
I'll be
you
happy,
might be good with that. Yeah.
because I don't wanna be my wife says,
My
she don't want me to be just skin and bones. She
Yeah.
wants a little meat to her bed.
I did a BMI and it said that I was slightly overweight.
Yeah.
It's just not, yeah. So as you know, don't focus on the overall goal, just focus on getting down, and then by the time you get there, that might not be your goal anymore.
Yeah, my goal is just 350, right?
Yeah, well, I was over 400
My
pounds,
goal is to be healthy.
and it was stress,
Yeah. Yep.
stress, the church, family,
I dropped down.
everything, so we had to cut out family. I'm talking about hard things to cut out, we had to cut out family,
Oh, I know.
because they were so negative
And
and so
like
destructive,
I was like,
and they fed off of it, and every time we were around them, it's just like, oh, it sucked all the energy out of you, and made you think negative. So we had to make a hard choice, and we cut it out, and we get harassed, and